Welcome to Dogsplaining, where we break down what your dog is really trying to tell you. I'm Dana, a canine coach and holistic wellness specialist focused on nutrition, energy work, and essential oils. I'm on a mission for your dog to eat better, feel better, and live longer.
And I'm Angela. I'm your 456 wellness and behavior coach, focusing on helping you understand the connection between 4 paws, 5 elements, and 6 fun tricks.
We're here to help you connect the dots: behavior, food, health, and everything in between, with honest conversations and straight talking guidance.
If you're ready to get past the noise and actually understand what your dog needs you to know, you're in the right place. Now here's today's Dogsplaining episode.
We say welcome to everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dogsplaining.
Hello out there.
So today we decided to talk a little bit about my new adoptee. His name is Harvey. He's showing to everybody. Of course, the people who are seeing us on Podbean won't be able to see him, but he's super.
I wish you could see his eyes right now. Harvey, what's up, bud?
What's it with the tearing?
I think put him in front of you. There you go. Hi, Harvey. You're cute.
He's cute. So Harvey's new to me. They think he's about 2 years old. He was found as a stray and landed in a little shelter, a little rural shelter. And one of the dachshund rescue groups picked him up and contacted me because I've put out a couple of applications to bring in a new little guy, and here he is. But he came in and he's got some burn marks down his back, and the question is, what caused them? And a couple of theories were he could have walked under a car, that somebody did it to him intentionally. But you came to the same conclusion from the photo I sent you that I think it is, where it looks like chemical flea and tick product.
Yeah. Yep.
And so if you look at him, it starts sort of in the back of the neck, like one drop right there, and then a little gap, and then a little drizzle, and then a big splatter, like you squeeze those little tubes and it splatters out, and then a gap, and then another little splatter. So I am treating him with ozone oil, Lavaderm, which is a skin soothing spray that has lavender and some skin soothing things in it, and then a little bit of the remedy from CBD Dog Health. So I alternate those around, just trying to get a lot of moisturization and healing properties into that skin tissue.
Does it look like a fresh wound?
Yeah, so he's
over
been with me about 10 days now, and in the upper area, it was still very red, like fresh new skin red.
Yeah, not even like scarred yet.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
But the day that I picked him up, and the rescue group had him maybe about 10 days, I think. So they brought him into rescue and took him to the vet, and so he got put on antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
Are we keeping you awake? He got put on antibiotics. He got his vaccinations. They did not do lepto, which I'm thankful for, even though many places are now saying lepto is a core vaccine.
Right.
A bit more. And something else.
Get rabies too. Bordetella.
Got rabies, Bordetella, parvo distemper, all of those. And so for me, he was already neutered. So if he's approximately 2 years old and he was already neutered, he even has the little tattoo on his belly that they show you that he's been neutered, but you can tell that his hoo-hos are missing, right? it makes me also think that he was probably vaccinated.
Yeah.
So my theory right now is he is now double vaccinated,
Hmm.
double in a very short window of time. So if he's about 2 and you've already had multiple rabies vaccines, that's a lot of toxin.
Yeah. And
Couple
he's a
that,
little guy too.
huh?
And he's a little guy,
Yeah,
not
and
like a 60-pound dog.
no, and the dose is generally the same, whether you weigh 15 pounds or whether you weigh 50 or 150. The dosage is the same.
I just told someone that recently and their mind was blown. I was like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the reality.
So what I want us to talk about, Angela, and your experience in the rescue world, having been the director of a rescue for a long time, is what can people like you and me do to educate some of these groups? Because if it were me, if somebody called me and said, "Hey, I found this little dog. I just found it," right? And they were not part of a rescue, I would have made the assumption he was already vaccinated. And we could titer to determine whether he's producing antibodies or not. Yes, there's a cost to doing that, but the risk of double vaccination is pretty severe for me. I have to also say in this scenario that we can assume, if we're assuming that this on his back is a chemical flea and tick, and it was new, it was fresh, and 2 weeks into the process, before they handed him off to me, they gave him a dose of Simparica. And he had not 1 or 2, but 7 seizures in under a 24-hour period. To me, that says we could have made some positive assumptions and spread things out. We didn't have to do it all at one time. And I'll come back and we'll talk about his eyes and the iridology of all of this in a minute. But from the rescue point of view, how does that play out?
It's a completely different world, honestly. Um, in the rescue world, your end goal is getting the dog ready for adoption as soon as possible. And so, yes, you do everything really quickly in succession to get the dog available for adoption. Some rescues have a minimum hold on dogs before they're ready for adoption, and we actually did in my rescue. We had an mandatory 30-day hold, so we knew that dog wasn't going anywhere for 30 days, so we weren't rushing to get everything done the same day. But we did have to do things like make sure they have core vaccines and are spayed and neutered and ready to go, you know. Um, in the pit bull world, you didn't have adopters waiting for a dog to come along like you do in some rescues.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see where in those high volume rescues, like the Doxies, and I'm doing the Jack Russell rescue right now, helping them out with some of their little problem kids. But they literally have a list of people that are approved waiting for a dog to come in. So when they get the dog in the rescue, they're going to naturally rush through everything to get the dog out the door and to the adopter. And I think they just don't know. I definitely did not know until I met you and you started working with our rescue that you have to be aware of those things, that it's not, we all have this we trust people too much sometimes. So your vet says you need to do these things now to make your dog healthy. So we're not thinking about the side effects of those things. We're just thinking, I got to give my dog these vaccines to make them healthy. And it's also required by law, some of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the disconnect is for the rescue because they're being pressured by veterinarians that are guiding them to do the things that they're doing for everyone else. Um, and then they're not getting the resources they need from people like you and I with the knowledge to say, okay, you have a dog, do a detox, give them some support, give them the vaccines they need one at a time, not all in the same day. And I think too, the space, well, And as you know, the spay neuter thing is a whole nother topic of conversation,
Yeah, for sure.
especially with young dogs. But and I haven't been in rescue for a while now either, so I don't even know what the cost of it is anymore. But a lot of times too, when you are in rescue, you've probably got a deal with a clinic somewhere
Yeah,
where you've
absolutely.
got so many spots a month to get those dogs in. And so you don't even stop and consider, okay, the dog's going to get neutered next Tuesday. I have to give them all 5 vaccines today. You're not thinking about the fact that all of that stuff is so close together.
Right.
So
And
it
I
really
get
is
it.
just a lack of knowledge.
Right. And I get it. There is, I mean, you've got some foster that's keeping the dog and you send them to the veterinarian and you're like, I don't want to have to make multiple trips, but doing everything at one time could be catastrophic.
It could. And I feel confident saying that most rescues, again, it could have changed from 10 years ago when I was doing it, but a lot of them will be able to get vaccines. They can administer vaccines on their own and have their own supply, everything but rabies because it's
Right.
controlled. Um, and so even if they just knew when they're doing their own vaccines to do one at a time and to do support before, during, and after that whole process, even that could help them out with those dogs going
Mhm.
forward and having them a little more healthy in the long run.
Yeah. And not to do it at the same time you're given flea and tick. I mean, we're talking about multifaceted layers of different toxins,
Yeah.
really, that
Yep.
are hitting a little body or a big body all at one time. And that they're already under stress, right? If we read the inserts of vaccines, it says don't do it when they're unwell, don't do it under stress, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, stress says multiple things, but it's also the stress of a surgical procedure at the same time is not ideal. The stress of I just landed my butt in a shelter somewhere is a
Yeah.
stressful thing. And I look at this little guy and he appears to be happy go lucky. So I can't imagine that he didn't belong to somebody.
Right.
He doesn't know sit and he doesn't know down. He doesn't know any of those things, which is not uncommon for the little dog.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon at all. But he looks healthy. He looks good, other than this skin condition now down his back.
Yeah.
He was already neutered, so somewhere along the line he had a caregiver of some
Right.
sort, right?
Yeah.
So I can't quite figure out. I don't want to bash any rescue group because I know they are doing good things to find all of these little homes. I just heard earlier this week about a different rescue that took in 40 miniature dachshunds from a hoarding scenario.
Mm.
I mean, and it was nasty, it was filthy, it was gross. So I'm sure that all of those are going through this same process too.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to fix it to mitigate the risk. I know what I would do if it were me as an individual. I just don't know how to do that to scale.
Yeah. Well, maybe we need to create a protocol for rescues.
Yeah.
You're good at creating protocols. I mean, it really is. They don't know any different. What they've been told, what they've learned is you get a dog, you don't know anything about them, so you vaccinate them so they can't spread anything zoonotic to you or the other animals or anything like
That's
that.
not entirely true either, right?
No, it's not. But that's what they've been told.
Yeah. So if you gave a dog a Bordetella vaccine today, if somebody was bringing it, and I know you're, let me rephrase this. If there were a training center boarding facility somewhere that you were going to take a dog to, they generally require like the Bordetella vaccine. Many vets require it to have overnight boarding.
Hmm.
But if you vaccinated them today, they're going to be shedding that vaccine for many days.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're bringing in the risk to that facility because the dog got vaccinated.
Yes. And we've compromised their immune system. So if the virus is in the building, they're most susceptible to it.
Yeah. And the same is true when you get a vaccine for like parvo distemper and you take them to the dog park, you're shedding vaccine, right? So that's a risk. And then you pair that with multiple other vaccines, and we talk about the depletion of the immune system. It's going to take a while for all of that to recover. And yes, we have to do it. The law says we have to have rabies, but ideally that shouldn't be done with any other vaccine or any other procedure.
Yeah.
It'd be completely separated.
And I think they're pushing the rabies vaccine at 16 weeks, which is way too young.
It's too young. And I think the law, and I haven't looked it up in a long time, but I think the law says they have to be 6 months, by the time they're 6 months.
Oh, by the time they're 6 months. That makes sense, but not 16. I mean, 16 weeks is probably, as far as the regulation goes, the minimum age.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, your dog's 16 weeks, time to give them this.
But I think that's happening because rescue groups are trying to get these dogs out quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I remember when I volunteered with the Great Dane rescues, if you got a puppy in, they didn't adopt those puppies out until they were 4 months old. And that's because they would spay them and give them the rabies at 4 months and send them on. So I get not wanting to keep them longer, but there's a risk associated with that. And luckily, many dogs won't have significant issues, but we're seeing evidence that some of them will.
Yeah.
And, I'm even hearing about pediatric spay, like 8 weeks, 9 weeks old.
Yeah.
Which mortifies me.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've learned that we do have options for that. So even if a dog, if you take in one of these dogs and you find out that they did have these pediatric or really early spays, there are some things that we can do to support their hormones. A lot of people will argue their hormones are missing, we took them away. Well, that's not great. I mean, we need the hormones for growth and development, right?
Yeah.
Not just for reproduction, but for other systems and other factors of the body. So we need to support those things. We need to put some things back in that support the health and the growth and development.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was removed so early, you may have to do that for life.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people are aware of those options either.
I don't think people are aware of the other side of spay neuter at all. They're just thinking stop the ability for reproduction.
Right.
Especially in this part of the country. That's why rescues push it so hard in this part of the country, is because the pet overpopulation issue here is outrageous.
But it's not really getting any better.
It's not at all.
I mean, I can't imagine what it would be if spay neuter weren't happening, but it's really not resolved. And in part, I think that's because the people who are doing this overbreeding, they're not even qualified to do good breeding.
Yeah.
Let alone betterment of the breed, right? There's a whole different conversation about that. They're not getting the memo at all, and they don't want to get the memo. They're in for dollars.
Yeah. Their paycheck doesn't include spay neuter. I got completely sidetracked there for a second. What was I saying? Oh, most people don't see the other side of spay neuter. We actually did. We started, if we would get like a litter of puppies that weren't weaned yet, we would bring mom and puppies into the rescue. Once the puppies were old enough to be weaned and they had passed crucial socialization periods, we would let them go to adopters, basically as a foster to adopt. so that they weren't being spayed and neutered so young. So it was
Mhm.
a separate contract where the dog is still our property. You can take the dog home with you, treat it as yours, but the dog is our property until the medical, everything that's medically needed is finished and required, and then you get a separate contract. And that was to cover our butt. So if someone refused to show up for an appointment, which definitely happened,
Yeah,
we had some legal recourse to, if it was necessary, go and reclaim the dog from them.
right. And I'm sure that's hard in a volunteer organization.
It is. It's a lot of work.
And I'm sure it's hard in a volume or, where there's lots of dogs rolling through all the time. I know it's
Yeah.
hard, which is why I'm sure if listen, there are people way smarter than me. So I think if it was going to be solved, somebody else could have done it. But it's just troublesome to me. And I understand like the law. If somebody's adopting a dog and there is no proof of vaccination, what does that look like? Right? Because then they can't go to the boarding facilities and they can't go to certain veterinarians and all of that kind of stuff. But I do wish we could find a solution to work out the timing a bit better.
We need to find a really, really wealthy investor to make the titer testing readily available to rescues, to anybody walk to the shelters. So
Mhm.
anybody that walks into a shelter or a rescue organization to adopt a dog, before we say, okay, we got to give all this dog all their vaccines before they can leave. Actually, let's test them first. Let's see what vaccines they may not have, you know, enough of to be properly inoculated and go from there. Because it's not easy to get a titer test. And some places won't honor them.
Right. I know.
That
I
needs to change.
agreed. Makes me sad. This whole topic makes me sad.
Yeah, especially when you look at your little man right there who's been put through hell and come back twice now.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't sure he was going to make it through all of those seizures. And I'm not sure he won't ever have another one. Luckily, he hasn't had one since that episode.
Yeah.
But I talked to them that day and I'm like, you have got to take action on, at minimum, milk thistle. You can go put your hands on that today. But as a rescue, I would want you guys to have these things in your first. Remember, we talked about first aid. We probably need to talk about what the detox protocols are. And I want pet parents who are adopting these guys, thank you for doing so, right? I could have said no to Harvey, but I didn't. He already had me attached. But when you get these dogs, I think almost everybody should go through some level of detox. And that if you know it's been an early spay, especially a pediatric spay, that you take action for the hormonal health.
Yeah.
And I'm willing, I've talked about this over the years. It's funny, no groups have ever really taken me up on it, but yours and a couple of others over the years. But to be a support, to let me volunteer to be an educator
Yeah.
to not only the rescue group, but to the adopters.
Hmm.
So I need to find a way to do that.
How we did a town hall meeting, right? We did a town hall meeting and brought you in to sort of do a
Mhm.
little presentation. That was how we first got started.
I don't know if that was first, but I remember doing that. I think we were in Raleigh or Greensboro or somewhere when we did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I- and that's a project that is near and dear to my heart, something that I would love to be able to take on and just go statewide and educate rescues and give them resources. Another thing that's hard on rescues too, they're especially when it comes to like flea and tick medications. So using that as an example, because if Harvey's burns are from a topical medication, they use what's donated to them most of the time. So a lot of times they're not going out and purchasing what they think is the best product. They're using what's donated to them. And so you do get stuck at times, especially if money is tight during that month and you have all these dogs using what's been given to you and not buying something else that would
So
be
who
better.
gives the product? Do they give the product and not the money? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so that stuff has a shelf life, and we would have veterinarians that once that stuff hits its shelf life, it's still usable for a certain amount of time. They would donate it to us to
Mm,
use on the dogs in foster care because it was usually like an extra 60, 90 days once that FDA date has passed.
mhm.
So they would give that stuff to us because they can't sell it. So they would give it to us to use for the dogs. That's where most of it came from. Sometimes you get people whose animals have passed away, they have extra stuff, they donate it to you. But when you're in the rescue world, you pretty much take anything you can get.
Mhm. But see, in my head, flea and tick would be one of the easy things just to not do,
Right.
just to not do it at all. So I
They
don't know.
don't know what we do though.
Yeah, right. It's complicated. It's complicated for sure.
We got to start looking for that really wealthy, animal loving investor to do a North Carolina rescue program overhaul.
Good luck. Send
Yeah.
it down.
I don't have enough things to do.
Ooh, and is he single?
Yes, this would be important information to
That's
have.
what we need. All right. Anything else about that topic? Oh, so so let me just back up. So he is doing detox, right? So not only is doing milk thistle, but I did the thuya, the listen, the ledum. We've added bentonite clay as a binder. So as we're stirring up all of this stuff, um, we don't want it to just recirculate somewhere in the body.
Reabsorb,
We need it
yeah.
to go away. We need it to be expelled. And so, can we get all of it out? Never, right? You can't get vaccines out, but you can get some of the adjunct things in there and move them out. But as much as we can is a benefit. Any
Yep.
improvement is an improvement, right? So we're doing those things. I do have him as a case study in my iridology class, and so I'm going to be sharing that in the Facebook group. You can you look at him and he looks happy, healthy, bright, all of those things. You go zoom in on the eyes and you can see layers of what some would call like lymphatic stagnation
Yeah.
or stress in the organs. And so just because we see a body that looks bright, happy and healthy doesn't mean something's not happening inside we can't see.
Mhm.
And so iridology is going to quickly become part of all of my consultations and helping people see more about that. Because if you recognize a change in your dog's eyes, that is a clue. Clue to what? You might not know yet, but we need to dig in and start trying to figure
Yeah.
it out.
Yep.
And it's interesting, we can watch like, and so my instructor is an equine person. She's got horses and does a lot with horses. And so they're much easier to see because they're huge animals with big eyeballs, right? But you can see change happening, like when they do an ozone therapy, for example, you can see immediate change in the eyes. When they put essential oils or herbs or homeopathic remedy, some things will create an immediate change.
Yeah.
And so to say that we can't diagnose using the eyes, but we can see clues.
Hmm.
And to say they're not associated would be completely wrong, because the fact that you can give a dog or a horse a homeopathic remedy and immediately see something shift in the eyes, the color, markers, all of those things, you can't argue that they are not correlated.
Yeah.
So I've been taking his pictures. He's only been here a week and a half, but we're doing every week photos to monitor his progress as I work through each of the each of the detox segments, because we can't do everything at one time, right? I can't throw. I wish I could. I wish I could throw all the diagnostics at. Why am I saying
Then you just throw him into a different kind of shock.
Right. I can't do everything at one time because, yeah, that would create absolute chaos in the body. So we have to be a little bit structured about that too.
Well, since he did have the seizures and stuff, and have you seen any signs at all of any type of neurological damage?
Thank goodness, no.
That's good.
So far, no. But again, it's been 10 days since he came.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I don't know yet. I don't
And
know.
you don't have a baseline for before either.
No. And I don't know, like, this is going to sound crazy to somebody. I don't know what will happen at the full moon or the cycles and the system.
It's coming.
Exactly. Don't know yet. And we have to figure those things out. So anything
Well,
else?
we wish little Harvey the best, and
Well,
you
he
the
hit the
best at
jackpot.
helping him.
He landed in a great spot as far as I'm concerned. So
Well, yes, he hit the doggy jackpot, that's for sure.
so I think what I will do, you talked about a protocol. And I really love the forum. I turned it back on, Have you been out there?
Oh, yes, I have. I'm so excited.
I rearranged a few things. I'm adding some stuff to try, but maybe we'll create a protocol that says for the new adopter, things
Yeah.
that they need to think about.
And again, I know it's a big goal and a lot of work and a big commitment, but I would love to be able to sit down one rescue at a time and say, let me help you come up with a better plan to keep your dogs well and healthy as you send them out to adoption.
Well, I've got a couple that I know, and I know you know a couple, so maybe we reach out to them directly together and say, this is what we want to do. Would you like to be part of it and be sort of our case study?
Yeah.
Our entry into this and see where it takes us.
And now that everything can be done virtually, and 10 years ago, you couldn't have a meeting like this. You had to drive to Raleigh and sit down with somebody, so we can even get more people involved if it catches, if they hear our proposal and say, yeah, I really like that.
So if there's a rescue director or somebody involved in rescue who has a relationship with the director, hook us up. Hook us up. We'd like to talk to them. And there may be some things that just aren't possible. I am realistic about that.
Yeah.
But I think there are some things that we really can think about, like, do I really have to do these flea and tick products? And if I do, does it have to be, God forbid, these isoxazoline class of products? Is there an alternative? And you and I know the answer is yes. We can even teach people how to make a flea and tick spray that they could sell to their clients as a fundraiser or to their adopters as a fundraiser.
Yeah. Yep.
We can totally do that. That's easy. We just need the relationships and to build the trust in what you and I are saying. And we're not the only ones saying it, right? I learned this from others as well.
Yep.
But let's see what we can get kicked off.
Well, it's exciting. Yeah. Sounds like a lot of work, but it sounds exciting.
I know. What are you saying that for?
Thanks for listening to Dogsplaining. We know you've got a lot of choices when it comes to dog advice. We appreciate you trusting us to keep it honest and helpful.
If today's episode helped you understand your dog's needs more clearly, share it with someone who may also need to hear it. And don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
For more resources, visit us online or join the conversation in our community. We'll be back soon with more insight into your dog's behavior, health, and wellness. Questions welcome, and we love guests.
Until then, Keep listening to Dog Explain.
Excellent.